I'd like to welcome Emily Ley to Sidewalks Entertainment. Hi, Emily. Thank you so much for joining
Hi.
us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, you're the founder of the brand Simplified, which offers anything from school supplies and office supplies to home items that help with daily life. Tell me about your success story. What work did you do before Simplified, and how did creating this brand come about?
Oh, thank you for asking. It's crazy to think about the journey I've been on in my career. I actually started in nonprofit management. I have a big heart for philanthropy and was working at a women in leadership program at a university. And once my first son was born, I found myself as a very busy, driven, but overwhelmed mom. And felt like I needed a couple of tools in my life to help me manage all the things. I wanted to do all the things, but I wanted to do them all very well, which I'm sure everyone can understand. The
Yeah.
Simplified Planner was born out of that. And the Simplified Planner really just took off. That was back in 2011. And since then, my team and I have been making tools and beautiful products for busy women. I've been an expert in simplifying and organizing things, but the one aspect of life that really would trip me up is cooking and getting dinner on the table when I have a million things going on. And I decided to take on a challenge and see if I could help fill that gap for not just, our women that we were serving and our customers, but for me. I have three kids and a lot of jobs.
Yeah. So that's what I really appreciate about the Simplified brand is that it really the your products really hone up to the idea of helping to make daily life easier to organize. And it makes things easier just like your book, The Simplified Cookbook, Delicious Meals with Effortless Prep. There are many recipe books that claim to be quick and delicious meals, but this one genuinely is a limited prep, delicious ingredients, and it's easy to follow. It's not overwhelming at all, which I often find myself feeling overwhelmed like with other cookbooks. This one's not overwhelming at all. So, what inspired you to create this cookbook and where did you learn all these recipes?
You know, everything that I have found to be the most successful at, like the Simplified Planner and some of my books, they've all been born out of my own pain points. The Simplified Planner was born out of, me trying to figure out how to manage my time, my limited time. The This cookbook came out of me finding myself struggling with mom guilt and with frustration in the kitchen every single day. When I lean into those parts of my life that tend to feel a little bit uncomfortable, I found that that's where my superpowers come out, where I can look at something really complex that feels really hard, and I can break it down into action items, into ways to streamline and simplify and automate. That's my superpower. And so applying it to this pain point I had in my own life, it giving myself the time and the freedom and the permission to let go of the perfectionism, it was life changing for me. And so, yeah, this book came out of a need in my own life and what I was discussing with my friends and our customers and that sort of thing. I feel like we all get frustrated in the kitchen sometimes because we have so much going on.
Yes. And this is kind of full disclosure, but I'm not very great at cooking. I
Oh,
mean,
I
not
get
only man, and not only
it.
am I very busy, but I'm just not very good at that craft. So
Yes.
your book is incredibly helpful. you
Thank
you have no
you.
idea.
No, I appreciate it so much. And you know what I think was really fun? I'm glad that you mentioned not feeling capable or like very good at it because I dealt with that same thing.
Yeah.
I come from a family of people who can like put a little of this and a little of that, and it tastes amazing. And that is my nightmare. I need directions. But
Yes.
simplifying recipes and getting them to a place of six ingredients or less, just a few minutes of prep, it made me feel capable in the kitchen, but it
Yeah.
also allowed me to drop the guilt of feeling like everything had to be made in a very complex way and 4 courses and all of that, that what really matters is
Yeah.
sitting down with my people at the end of the day around the table and not how long it took to make. So I'm glad you mentioned that. It's important to point out.
And another thing that I love about the recipes that you have in your book is that the ingredients, like I read them and I'm like, I know what that is, because with some books that do the quick and easy meals, they have these ingredients and I'm just thinking, like, does this go by another name in the grocery store? Like,
And then you pay $15 for it, and then you don't ever have to, you
yeah.
never use it again. Listen, I
Yes,
totally get that.
exactly.
Totally get that.
Exactly that. So this might be a little bit of a tough question, but what are your top three personal favorite
Oh my
recipes in your
gosh.
book?
Yes. Okay. And you actually asked me a minute ago, and I totally forgot to answer it about where these recipes came from. So these
Yeah.
are family recipes. These are recipes that are things my family love to eat, but I didn't want to make because it took too long. Looking at recipes like, sheet pan fajitas, that's one of my three. How, my family loves fajitas. It's a whole experience when you eat them, but we can make them with one pan and one knife. That's exactly the kind of meal I want to make. Looking
Yes.
at the things I really love to eat and figuring out ways to get from point A hungry to point B fed. That's where a lot of these came from. So that's one of my favorites. My second would probably be meatloaf cupcakes. I absolutely love meatloaf cupcakes. My family thinks they're so fun. It's meatloaf that is made with stovetop stuffing, so the boxed stuffing, and
Nice.
mashed potatoes on top as the icing. Get the Bob Evans mashed potatoes that are already made. They're delicious. And then you put a little pea on top because it's the cherry. Those are so fun.
Oh
We
my
had those
gosh.
last night. And then, oh my gosh, what is another favorite? Pumpkin muffins. I feel like I mention pumpkin muffins all the time because my kids love them. They're 3 ingredients, so easy. Oh, and Sunday morning casserole. It's a 4 ingredient, like breakfast casserole that's made with crescent dough. And we actually love it so much. We have it on Christmas morning, but sometimes it's just so easy and well loved over here. We also have it for dinner. So yeah, I gave you four, but I love all of them.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to skimming through the rest of the book and also
Yeah.
trying your top four favorite recipes. Those sound amazing. So earlier you mentioned that you wanted to do all the things and now you're actually doing it. So are there other professional ventures that you would also like to do one day?
Oh my goodness, that's such a good question. I tend to have great big dreams and goals, and I love to look at something that feels challenging to me and tackle it. Um, I will tell you, one of the next things we have coming up is an heirloom kitchen collection coming from Simplified. So we're going to continue to stay in the kitchen a little while. We're making recipe binders, meal planning notepads, things that really tactically help you simplify life in the kitchen. I just love writing, so I definitely have some book ideas up my sleeve, particularly in the kids space. I have a 14-year-old and two 10-year-olds. And so, mom life is top of mind. But who
Mm-hmm.
knows? I don't know. I love looking at what feels hard. How can we make it easier?
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. So when you aren't at work, what do you like to do in your free time? Maybe to like relax and unwind.
So I have a habit of listening to mystery books on Audible while cleaning my house. That these days we're just trying to keep up with life. And I love to read. So I love a good mystery novel, historical fiction, any of that type of thing. And I love to listen while I'm multitasking. So I love that.
So one last question before we wrap. Uh, what would you like to say to anyone who might want to do what you do one day? Create their own brand or publish a book or just achieve a dream that they aspire to do?
I think about this often. I have a daughter who's 10 who is very much loves to be involved with mom's work. And one thing that I tell her all the time is don't ever count yourself out.
Hmm.
If you would have told me 10 years ago that I would have a cookbook, I would have absolutely laughed because I was not great in the kitchen. I'm not naturally gifted at cooking. I'm not a classically trained chef. But I looked at this opportunity and said, why not me? Why not a cookbook written by someone who doesn't feel like they're naturally gifted at it? And that's something I tell her all the time. Like, don't count yourself out. You can absolutely do anything if you're willing to work hard enough at it.
Oh, I love that. That's motivating for me too. And yeah, your book, that gave me a lot of confidence.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for saying that.
Well, Emily, it really was so lovely to speak with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Everyone, be sure to get your copy of the Simplified Cookbook at a retailer near you. Emily, you take care.
Thank you so much, you too.